we will get right to it because I have prepared a little bit of questions and answers for us here. So, as you can see on my screen now, there are 10 questions, which were the very top questions, back in February at least, regarding the Monday.com CRM. And today we're gonna focus on question 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. For the next webinar, I'm gonna focus on question 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So let's get started, unless there are any questions right now or anything, then you can just write in the chat. Oh, I see that Lisa asked when the webinar was scheduled to start. And of course, Lisa, thank you for being here. We were scheduled to start 8 minutes ago, but we started 2 minutes ago. All right, so let's start with the first one. So as you can see, it's just a link, but I'm gonna copy that and put it in the browser so we can see what the question is about. All right. Generate report with Monday was the question. And as you can see, it's tagged with Monday Sales CRM. And it was one of the top questions back in March. Hello, Monday users. Looking for generate a weekly report with the tasks my employees created in the CRM, then we ask you. Any tips could be super helpful. We can see that someone has answered that maybe you want to have an automation, automatically creating stuff in a certain board. Then someone tried to actually sell something to that person. Let's skip that. Anyway, I have prepared for today. Let's zoom in a little bit to make it easier for everyone to view it. A CRM that is basically just the template that you can find. If you have the CRM product, you go to the CRM, you go to templates, and there you find it. So I just created that so that we can play around with that together today. And of course, there are many ways to put tasks into a CRM. For example, you might have that you put activities here in the email activities, but I'm gonna assume since all the activities are put anyway into a board called activities, then I assume that was not what the user meant. I think that the user meant the task that you could put as sub-items in here. We see that the templates come with 3 examples: reach out to Madison, and task 2 and task 3. I actually prefer to do my task management in here, such as, let's schedule a task like that. But for those of you who actually use items or sub-items as tasks, then we can have a look at making it as nice as possible. So the actual question was, you want to have a weekly report with a task that the employee created. So let's go for first tracking the creation date. We can do that quite easily with a column for creation log called creation log, which gives us the user and the date that the individual role was created. I'm gonna go to the settings for that one and change it only to the date, and that way we can see when something was created. Now we want to have an overview of all the tasks that my employees created. So then I want to create a blank view, and I'm gonna call it last week's tasks. In here, I will just add a widget. First, add a chart widget saying how many of something was created. So let's go for creation log by month, count items, and we can see that that was 3. Oh, actually, we wanted to have it by week. We can see that, let's go for week. We can see that there were 3 tasks created on this week. So number of tasks per week. So this gives quite a good high-level overview. If you want to dig into the actual table of the tasks, then you just click here, and it will bring up a table of the data that is showing, which is quite nice. Another way to have it always visualized would be to create a table widget, and let's call it last week's tasks. And then we can filter that one to say that if the creation log date is in the last 1 week, then it will show in here. So now it will show these 3 tasks. Okay, so that will show visualize that quite nicely. And that's without any automations that these other users suggested. I mean, I guess you could do that, but in my opinion, it's a little overkill to create a new board where you add in even more duplicate items, because then you want to think in between and have a lot of mirror columns. I mean, this would be much easier. And of course, for those of you who are advanced Monday users, then you probably know also that this board view could actually be a dashboard instead, and then it could be private for whoever needs to view it. All right. Any questions on this first question? The second highest ranked question regarding the Monday CRM? Okay, not really, it seems. Good. So let's go on for the next one. And anytime you have any questions, then please let me know in the chat. You have a speaker chat in the webinar. Great. Let's switch to question number 4. Hi, I'm setting up the emails and activities feature on my item card to be able to send emails and receive replies from clients. The feature is working great for sending and showing if the email has been seen. However, when my client replies on that same thread, the reply is not showing up on the widget. This is actually a common problem that some people have. That is usually, and actually I've seen out, that is what Bianca is saying here, that usually has to do with the settings. So if we have a look inside Monday, let's close the tasks, and we open up a deal. In here, we have the emails and activities, and we can go to the settings. So for the settings, we can say that we want to automatically log all outgoing emails from Gmail or Outlook into emails and activities, or only those that are BCC'd into a certain address. And of course, we want to go with all of them, because then once we get an email to an email column that is associated with this deal, then we get the full kind of history on that one. So that's quite common that you miss to flip that switch. And I think that Bianca does a great job in showing how you should do this. And they also have more of more of a discussion down here. So if you want some extra insight, then feel free to go to the community center in Monday, which is community.monday.com. And in there, you can click on search, and well, it's not showing very well at this point, but you can click on search and just search for email and activities feature, not showing client replies, and see the full discussion. And that, of course, applies to all the questions that I bring up. But yeah, very good question from Pau, very good answer from Bianca. I think most of us, when we started with emails and activities on Monday, then we had a bit of issue to set it up in the way that we wanted. And since this is the fourth highest ranked question, then quite good to actually know about how to fix it. Great. Let's move on. So we have the sixth most highest ranked question. Let's go to that. Follow that link. So I'm new to Monday. I loaded up the CRM app and added email activities again to my board. I like the interface in Monday generally, but there are some issues that are just killing me. Since I'm new, I'm wondering if I just misconfigure things. Here's my primary issue. I want to be able to send email either on my email client or in Monday and have it reflected everywhere. And actually, that is the same issue that Bianca answered very nicely in the last question. So I'm going to skip that one. Let's see what else that Steven here is talking about. If I get the email from my client, I want to be able to reply in my email client and have Monday see this and add it to the activities list so that others or me can see the trail. And that's what we just discussed with the setting. It also looks like there is only a single email allowed in the email field on the deals table. Let's see. The deals table, click on new email. Let's stop sharing my screen for a bit, and I will actually go into somewhere where I have connected my email. So let's see. Because you can only be connected in one account at a time, and so far today I have only been looking in the in Omnita's demo account. Now I will go to the actual account and our real CRM and bring up something that is okay to show to a wider audience, and see what we can do. So let's open up a new email, and very soon I will also show on my screen what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Great. So in the to field, I actually get suggestions to multiple people. So I will try Frederick and Yassan, and we can see directly that actually you can write to multiple people at the same time. So I think that it was maybe an issue that Steven had in February 2023, but now it's working. Next, after I read an email dealt with it, I don't want to see that there is still a highlighted message next to a deal. But I've list for 7 days, and that is an interesting one. Actually, so what it says is that he gets a icon here saying that it's blue and a 1 or something, that he has a new email. But that should only be for the updates. But anyway, if you only want to have that you dealt with it, so let's say that you have sent it, you can work with the integrations in email activities. So if you go into your deal card here, you can click on automate workflows, that will take you to the integration center for email and activities. In here, once it's loaded, we have when an incoming email received from email column, actually not so tracking, I want to have set status or something. Then we can set the status column with a tag saying you received a reply. And once you've dealt with it, you can either have an automation saying that when you reply to an email, change it back, or you can just manually change it to I dealt with it, because it might be that you don't want to reply, you just want to say that. Let's say that you want to create a new task, then you've done that, you flip the switch again back to dealt with. So that you actually go from looking at this one to a new column. Let's create that one together. So let's have this one as, let's delete this one and this one as new email. Let's go with blue. And this is green and dealt with. So I can have it automatically with the automation I showed earlier, showing new email here. Actually, let's make it another color so it's less. There we go, a new email. And once I'm finished dealing with that email, I just flip it to dealt with. And that, of course, I can do also from here. So if it's already at new email, I can say that, okay, I dealt with it. Now, next thing, click here. Okay, yeah, that one I dealt with as well. Next thing, I dealt with this one as well. And so on and so forth. Quite nice workflow, actually. I like to do it that way. As you could see, it's easy to flip between the deals here with the arrows on top. Super nice feature. So it all ties together quite nicely. Okay, let's see what Steven writes. Next, I cannot send email or anything else from Monday as long as it has the powered by Monday.com brand. And context press, embarrassing it is to have that on an email. I went into the brand, it doesn't work. Okay, that is the last thing that Steven rolled up. So it's a 3-part question, but still I'm gonna just present it was one question then. If you go to the settings here and you go to the bottom somewhere, email branding, if you have an enterprise account, a pro account actually, a pro plan and above, then you can switch this to off and you won't have that problem. Simple as that is the setting. That said, when you're new to Monday, you can't find all these settings, so it's super useful to ask the very nice community in Monday or watch a webinar like this, and then you get an answer. All right. So that was question number 6. 2 more questions to go. First, we have a question about Gmail contact CRM. Hello, I'm looking for an efficient way to add contacts to the contact board on my Monday CRM. The scenario is I add, I guess, new contact a new contact at a client sends me an email on my Google Workspace Gmail client. So Conchita, she receives an email from someone who is not in their contact register and wants to immediately add the person in the contact board. So that would be this board. Currently using some kind of plugin for $19 per user per month. That's a bit steep. I kind of agree. And so then the nice community member by Bianca, I actually don't know this person, but I kind of like her. Second time that she provides a good answer to a top-rated question. So create contact at automatically option on. So let's see, what do you mean by that, by Bianca? So she gave us a link to support.monday.com. Super useful website. I use it all the time, even though I work with Monday every day, or rather, because I do that, because I need to look up some functionality. So email will. So how it works. If you go to the email activity settings, you don't have to create a contact for a new lead partner or client again. Let Monday do the work for you. So you go to the settings, the gear icon up in the emails and activities. So let's click here, and then we pretend that we weren't at the gear icon. So we click on the gear icon. Then we go to email account setup and privacy. Well, I haven't put my own email address here, so I don't think I can go there. Let's see. And then it's log outgoing emails. Automatically log all outgoing emails. Well, they have changed the settings page. I'm actually gonna zoom in here a little bit. I can't see it myself, you know. Okay, email account setup and privacy. Okay, it might be that I need to go back to where I've connected my email. So I'm gonna stop screen share for a second. There we go. And in here, I'm gonna go to the settings, my account. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen again so you can see what I'm doing here. I was right that I needed to be logged in to properly view it. I'm in the settings. I have in my account, I have my own email. And if I click on the three dots here, I can click on automatic contact creation, create a contact when you send an email to someone, create it in contacts, and put the email in the email column and click save. There we go. Simple as that. Actually gonna keep that on for our own internal CRM. I kind of like that. I'm gonna stop screen sharing for that. Great. So super useful feature. You can basically sync contacts into your CRM automatically. So another great question with a good answer. Thank you for staying, even though we were late. And if you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat or just write an email to me. You have the email, I think, in the meeting invite, or you can just contact me at viggo@omnitas.com, and I will do my best to help. All right. Thank you very much.